Okay, so we're here. It looks like all the bikes that were in my motel room, they all came here too. So everyone's got the same idea. When you come to Perth, you got to go to Wheeler's Pancake House. So here we are. It's a really nice place. I got to show you around the museum and stuff too. It's pretty cool. So we'll head in and we'll get ourselves a nice pancake breakfast. See where they're going to sit each of the. Alrighty, thank you. So this place is famous because they are actually a maple syrup refinery and they make their own maple syrup. I'll show you that later on. And they also make, of course, awesome pancakes and sausage. The sausage is supposed to be legendary, so we're going to try some of that. I just think it was funny that all the bikers are all crowded around my bike looking at my bike. So there it is. I know it looks kind of basic, but I ordered basic. That's why you can get a whole huge plate if you want. Stacks of this and stacks of that if you want. You can get bacon, you can get stuff. But the sausage is supposed to be really good. So I'm just not overly hungry this morning, so I just ordered a basic. They were all just crowded around my bike. This is not uncommon. It's not uncommon. You know, a lot of you say, why are you selling the bike when it's like the biggest eye catcher around? Anyway, I got me a little souvenir, just a real small one. I figured I could fit that on the bike. And then now we're going to take a look around at some of the cool stuff. So this is a little map in the front that kind of entails, you can freeze frame if you want, of all the places that are here to check out. If you come here with your family or your spouse or even by yourself, you want to look around. So let's start inside. So I'm assuming the sign that says sale means this stuff is for sale, which is interesting. That the museum, I guess, is thinning out some of its old stock. So, you know, some people collect old cans like this. They'll collect stuff like that. And, you know, me, I'm thinking of getting into smelting. You could melt that stuff down. They got really old chainsaws and stuff, old tools. People sometimes use those for decoration and stuff too. Like that's the world's oldest crescent wrench right there. Oh my goodness. $50 for everything. Old license plates. Yeah, actually this is pretty cool that they're selling this stuff. I can't get anything because I have no room on the bike. I could barely get that little maple syrup. But check out these. These are like ancient chainsaws. Like this is like a 1940s chainsaw. Crazy. They have them. It's got to be the world's largest collection of antique chainsaws I've ever seen. This is just the extra stuff they're just selling off. I'll show you the rest in a minute. And there's a blacksmith shop over there. We'll go have a look there and see what's going on in the blacksmith shop. Maybe I can get some smelting tips. That's pretty good. Make your own evaporator. It looks more like shelves for my truck mounting. They got a beautiful garden there. A lot of it's flowers too, which is interesting, but let's see how their tomatoes are doing. I'm always struggling to get tomatoes to grow. They did better than I did. It's quite a nice crop. I wonder if they use that in their cooking. It's pretty interesting. These are some old wagons. Over 100 years old, I'm sure. Some old equipment for maple syrup stuff. Maple syrup boilers. There's nobody in the blacksmith shop right now, but they have a blacksmith shop here, which is pretty cool. I'm thinking of getting into smelting for a hobby, just melting copper and aluminum down into bars and stuff. And I could have got some tips here. Anyway, yeah, it's like their workshop. I see there's an actual forge there and everything. That's pretty cool. It's a quiet day. It's, what is it? It's Thursday. They're not too busy today. which is surprising. Everywhere is busy. Let's head on over to the machinery museum. That's kind of interesting. They got Henry's old garage. This is where all the license plates are, and I guess selling off a few. I don't know why. They could always stick a few more up there. And you got some interesting old license plates. Some of those look new, but you're seeing like 1973 on there. That's like 50 years old, man. 71 license plates. I think back then you actually got a whole new plate every year. That's why they had the year on it, which is pretty cool. I was just a kid at the time, so I wouldn't know. I wasn't driving yet. The old Model T. Wonder if it still runs. I'm sure it could if they put some work into it. It might. He's got it on blocks, though. She's pretty original. You can tell that's original, man. Whew. Old gas pumps. I've seen even older ones that used to have the tank over top, too. This is one of the older ones where they still have a digital meter. Air pump, I remember that was in the days where you didn't have to pay for air. And we're heading in. Now this place is just full of antiques. Look at the tools. Got some of these old logging tools. Just like Paul Bunyan there. Yes, some interesting tools, that's for sure. Look at that. That's got to be old. It's hand forged. A lot of these are hand forged from an actual blacksmith. I think that's an old thresher. They would thresh the hay or the straw. Get the grain off, you know, gotta get the grain off. And if you're into just looking at antiques and old stuff, man, this is a place for you. Look at that. That's where they used to hew the logs with to make them square by hand. Talk about a day's work. One day's work like that would kill me. I love these old grinders. Is it a grinder? I think so. For corn, I think. Here's an old bandsaw. Yeah. Dangerous as heck, I bet. Now, here's an old, this is an old plow. This is like early 1800s. You putting that in the ground and walking behind that all day. That'd be something else. I'm not sure what this is. I guess it's to dig post holes, maybe. Tools, tools, tools. There's a hacksaw. Pretty interesting. Just squeezing through here. These old pictures.
That's a chain. That's a chainsaw. That's it.
Oh, never mind. I guess all
Michael?
sun.
Yeah, it's come through.
That's actually.
And like I said, it's got to be the largest collection of chainsaws I've ever seen in my life. And really old too. I don't know if they have the years on them. It's made in, but it's left blank. Unless it just means made in Canada, I don't know. Look at this thing. Can you imagine running that? That's when men were men, I tell you. My God. I'd take down a whole tree with that, a big tree. I think it took two guys, one on each end. Here's one that's in a little better shape, but gives you an idea what it was like when they were using them. Massive. Crazy dangerous machines. Just look at them all. They like to collect chainsaws. there's another whole side of chainsaws over here. And these massive logging chainsaws. Just crazy. Look at this thing. 1948. 7 horsepower. So, yeah. 1948, that's what they used. Going back in the day. And there's just no end to them. So many, so much history here. Some of them look newer, some of them look older. Some are just better reconditioned. Pretty amazing. All right, so that was the Chainsaw Museum. I think this is their, this must be where they boil down their syrup. It used to be inside. Like, I guess they've changed their equipment since I was last year, because that was all inside that one area just off of the dining room. They had their equipment. Now it looks like they have this massive silo here for their maple syrup. They're getting that big. But this looks like it could be like a sugar shack, as you call them. I don't know if you're allowed to go in there or not. Outdoor furnace, wood-fired furnace. Provides heat to the buildings. Oh, okay. Oh, that's pretty cool. I thought there was some other stuff. According to the map, we did the blacksmith shop. That's just like a barn shed, holds the tractors and stuff. Not sure if there's anything else. I don't really have a guided tour here. Just looking around. Anyway, when this is up and running and they have the guy at the blacksmith shop and everything, it's kind of a nice, cool place to take your kids and stuff, or just look around yourself. And if your kids are really little, they have a little playground here even for you, just to kind of keep them amused. I'm sure they would love it. So anyway, we're going to head back. I think I'll just take a quick washroom break, and then we will get on the bike and continue our tour. Yeah, there's actually one more museum over here, so we'll have a quick boo. I think that it's I've been in here before. It's a lot of knickknacks and stuff. We'll just have a quick look. Okay. Well, those molds will be interesting for my welding. My smelting I want to do. Not sure what they all are. Temperature gauges and stuff, cooking supplies. A lot of stuff to do with the syrup industry. I think I got the place to myself right now. I can talk a little louder. All right, look at these old buckets. Wow. Now that is an old bucket. It's like a 1800s sap bucket. Isn't that crazy? Shows how long we've been doing this, that they're making buckets like that. What we got on this side? Some old hand-carved wood molds. I'm not sure what they used them for. Maybe baking or something, like cookies or something. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. Your guess is as good as mine. Yeah, it's like antique bucket collection, sap buckets. And all these molds for, I can only assume it's for baking or something like that. Or maybe making candy, like taffy or things like that from the maple syrup. Tons of them. Tongs. Now when I get into my smelting, I need some tongs just like that. Those are definitely for baking. gingerbread cookies. And what else we got? I don't know what these are. Just spigots, I guess. Yeah, sap spouts. Isn't that cool? Just a walk through, go back a century and a half, see some of this stuff. These are probably older than you think, this glassware. That was considered a luxury item back in the day. Anything like that was a luxury item. And that's why even like our grandparents and great-grandparents saved this stuff in their curio cabinets and never touched it, because they grew up with that mentality that this glassware was precious, and you didn't want to lose it. Today you could just see glassware everywhere, made in China stuff, so it's no big deal. But yeah, back then it was expensive and hard to get that stuff. When you bought something like that, it was special. Interesting display, some old yolks. Not sure what these things are. There, boil the old sap that way. Oh yeah. They used to do that with rum too. Just depends where you are, but up here it probably would be sap. Very cool. Well, it's getting a little overcast. I better get rolling. See if I can find something. Find my next location on the GPS and get rolling. Okay, well, the next little spot I wanted to go to, I found it on Google Maps, and it's not far from this location. It's about maybe 20-25 miles. But in order to get there, because of my back roady area, it's not very much a grid pattern here. I'd have to take like 10-15 miles of this back road that I saw in order to get across into that area. Otherwise it meant going like an extremely long way around. And that back road is up here when you come out of Wheelers. You see this back road? I'll show you. Alright, so when I come out here to the main road, you can see ahead. If I turn left, it goes to gravel, but it's not gravel like this, and it's kind of gnarly. So I asked the girl, the waitress that works in there, if she's local and she knows the road, what the road was like, and I didn't get a very good review. She said all the keywords that I don't like to hear. She said, see, if you look up there, see how it turns to gravel and it becomes a small back road? I mean, it doesn't look bad, right? But she says it's very hilly, it's loose gravel, there's huge potholes, and it's washboardy, and they haven't graded it. So, I don't know. I don't want to get into it. I just don't, because the place I was gonna go all the way around, which is kind of out of my way anyway, it's called Biker Alley, and it's just like a memorial spot. Now I wonder if I can find it going this way, but it'd be a long way around. But yeah, it's called Biker Alley, and it's probably just like a bunch of motorcycle helmets along a fence line, and it's to honor the fallen bikers, the ones that didn't make it, which could be any one of us. And that's just something we have to accept in the world of biking. But maybe I should stop and just look on Google Maps to see if maybe there's a way to get there from going this way.